Hi there, I'm Governor Kate Brown. The rehabilitation of Wallowa Lake Dam and the return of the sockeye salmon has been a long-standing project that I've supported. I'm so pleased to see it moving forward. Wallowa Lake is a very special place for countless Oregon families, mine included. This natural glacial lake, which was dammed in the early 1900s, still provides irrigation, flood control, and drinking water to the towns of Joseph, Enterprise, and Wallowa. The dam has also blocked fish, such as the sockeye salmon, from completing their journey in the Wallowa River. But today, because of the hard work of many local stakeholders in developing a Memorandum of Agreement, the dam will finally see repairs to make it operationally safe and allow for the fish to migrate. This exciting agreement is the product of the good work and good faith collaboration of the Wallowa Lake Irrigation District, Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, the Nez Perce Tribe, and the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. Thank you to all of these partners for working together to find a sustainable solution. This accomplishment is a beautiful example of the Oregon way. We get things done by working together. When we collaborate based on our shared values, we can rise to the occasion each and every time. Congratulations and thank you.
So Wallowa Lake hosted one of Oregon's only two sockeye salmon populations and the only one here in the Snake River. At the turn of the 20th century, sockeye salmon from Wallowa Lake went extinct due to multitudes of factors, one being which overharvest in the main stem Columbia and Snake Rivers. They were being swept into irrigation fields. There was misguided hatchery practices, and then also a lot of passage barriers on the landscape too, most notably here at Wallowa Lake Dam that prevented sockeye salmon from accessing spawning and rearing habitat here in Wallowa Lake.
So back in the 70s, after the Teton Dam failure, this was labeled as high hazard, and back in 1996 we were limited to a 72% capacity storage. Because of that, a lot of our father's generations and mothers got together and were trying to find different ways to rehabilitate this to get back up to a full capacity. It was built in phases, so one of the first constructions was back in 1919. It was extended 3 feet higher a few years later and another additional 5 feet in 1929. It provides 50,000 acre feet of water for Wallowa Valley irrigators. It also supplies water for the city of Joseph. But overall, throughout the whole county, it affects about 37,000 acres. And it also provides flood control for many of the municipalities downstream from us, protecting millions of dollars of commercial real estate and residential real estate along the rivers. So many of the stakeholders have not just been the irrigators, but also the community at large, because it affects all of us. But this storage increase is vital to our community, not just to the irrigators, but also to the fisheries as well, because if this funding goes through, hopefully we can supply some water for some critical stretches throughout the Wallowa River system.
Tatsmewi, Oikalom Huma, Kalatiwama. Inamunikwas, we Atanatu were hiked. Soyapotimki, Casey Mitchell. What I said in my language is good morning, friends and relatives. My Nimipu name, which comes from this land, is Sun Necklace, and my English name is Casey Mitchell. I serve as the treasurer for the Nez Perce Tribal Executive Committee. It's the governing body for the Nez Perce Tribe, also known as Nimipu. It's been, over 100 years since we were able to fish sockeye here in the Wallowa River, or Wallowa Lake even. The sockeye were anadromous fish, and what anadromous fish means is that they're able to go from freshwater to saltwater back to freshwater, and that's a very important piece to the health and well-being not only of the Nez Perce tribe but of the environment as well.
My name is Jeremy Wolfe. My Indian name is Ilpilt. and I'm the vice chair of Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation. Some of the challenges we've had with getting to this point, I think it's been initially tied with the irrigators. Have been trying to do this work for 40 years plus. It's been kind of a lot of on their shoulders. They reached out to the tribes, and so it's really been the fruition of all that coordination and communication, trying to figuring out what things we can agree on, things that we can benefit one another. Irrigators have their interests, but they don't have to be in competition with what the benefit of the system is. More of clean, cold water benefits everybody, including the ecosystem, including the fish and the people that are dependent upon it. And I think that the first things first is, those relationships had to be not only, those doors had to be open, but through an MOA, we solidified those relationships for the future.
There was two things that we wanted to see done in that MOA. Sufficient water for the fish that come up that river. And then the other part was to see sockeyes return back to this lake, back to those rivers, in somehow in the near future that we're able to build a pass for those fish to go up and down that dam, to be able to come up to spawn, but also to go back down to the ocean as well.
Once fish passage is restored at Wallowa Lake Dam, there are still several hurdles we'll have to overcome to make a reintroduction program for sockeye successful. One of which is unscreened irrigation diversions and passage barriers directly below the dam. And then also farther downstream in the migratory corridor, you have high water temperatures in the lower Grand Ronde and in the Snake River reservoirs, in addition to predators like smallmouth bass that eat sockeye salmon smolts as they migrate out to the ocean. But then also within Wallowa Lake, we need to consider the fact that the Wallowa Lake of 120 years ago is different from the Wallowa Lake of today. And since then, the spawning habitat above the lake and the river has been channelized. So what used to be a vast network of small channels for sockeye to spawn in is now just one big channel above the lake. We also have, through time, reintroduced non-native species like mysis shrimp that compete with kokanee and sockeye salmon for food resources. We also have lake trout that directly eat young sockeye salmon before they migrate out to the ocean. But then it's important to consider that there's an absence of adult sockeye salmon that used to bring vital nutrients back from the ocean that started the food cycle and the food web of Wallowa Lake from the very base that's been absent for hundreds of years.
So I think MOAs or MOUs, whatever it might be, are really important to understanding and having those agreements to lay that groundwork for the new leadership that steps in. So they understand what we're trying to accomplish, the challenges that we've gone through. And when we get to the point where the next steps need to be made, that agreement holds strong to that legacy, holds strong to the history of what we're trying to accomplish here. There are going to be new ideas as we move forward, and I think that maybe some things can be rewritten, some things can be added or taken away, but at the same time, there's a foundation for collaboration, communication, and success.